Hi there, my name is Matheson Facer. I'm going to be talking about a problem that I came across with wraps in both 3ds Max and Maya. Wraps are pretty important in rigging, but the limitation that I ran into is when doing uniform scaling of the rigs after the rig is complete, and if that rig has wraps applied to it. So this is a problem that exists in both Max and Maya. I have scenes set up here in both applications just to show the problem. So here in Max you can see the thickness of the sphere does not get scaled down with the rest of it, and it also gets kind of crunched and it looks really bad. So here it is in Maya. Doesn't get all scrunched up, but you can see it has the same issue. It stays the same height throughout. And it makes sense if you think about it. There's no thickness to the plane, which is what is the influence object for the wraps. So the sphere is wrapped to the plane, and the plane is skinned to these joints. And so if we were to just like scale the plane on the sub-object level, you wouldn't really be changing the thickness at all of the plane since it has no thickness. So when I was trying to find solutions to this problem in Maya, I was having a really difficult time finding any solutions out there. I think I came across one which was recommending duplicating all of your wrap geometry and putting it through a blend shape node, which that solution could work, but it's not very straightforward, it's not very elegant, it's not very efficient. I had a rig that I was working on that had hundreds of wraps on hundreds of pieces of geometry, and it would have just been a huge pain, and it would have really slowed down the rig a lot. So I went and I continued looking for other ways of getting this issue addressed, and came up with a method in Maya that I felt worked pretty well and was pretty elegant and like straightforward. So I thought I would share it with everybody, but since the problem also exists in 3ds Max, I thought I would share that as well. And 3ds Max is actually a lot simpler to solve this issue, so I'm going to start with it, and it's really just a one-step solution. So all you have to do is just parent your influence of the wrap into the rig that's being scaled. So we'll just parent it to this helper object here, since that is what's getting scaled, and then you can see that it's scaling perfectly fine. So it's really quite easy to fix in 3ds Max. It is not as easy to fix in Maya because Maya has issues with double transforms, and Max does not have those same issues. So if we were to do that same thing here in Maya, and actually I shouldn't put them both under there. Whatever. It's it doesn't work. There you go. You can see it's getting double. So it left me wondering how to go about fixing it, and I had to play around a lot, but I found a solution that works pretty well. So the way the wrap deformer in Maya works is creates this this base object whenever you wrap a piece of geometry to an influence object, and then it just watches for the difference between the base object and the original object, and it uses that difference and applies it through to the wrapped object. So when it gets scaled down, it's taking note of that difference there, and it's applying it for the scale. So I needed to cancel that out. So in order to do that, the base object also has to be scaled down, but it can't be scaled down in its transform. That won't work. So if we parent just the base object into the hierarchy, you can see it kind of stays the same, but it's still getting the height changed. So that doesn't work. What we have to do instead is we have to skin it so that it's deforming on the base object. So here we go over to frame 24 where it's scaled down, and I'll make that visible. You can see it goes back to its normal size and shape when we scale it down on the component level. So what we could do is we could skin it the same as, I should go back to the first frame here. We can skin it the same as our original object using the same influences, and that'll cancel out the scaling. But then the problem we have is that it's also canceling out any deformations at all, since the base object is always the exact same as the original object, as you can see there. So what we want is we want to cancel out the scaling deformations without canceling out the other deformations. So in order to do that, I'm just gonna undo back to before the skin cluster is applied to the base. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to create another joint. I'm going to zero it out, and I'll parent it into the hierarchy here. Okay. And then since the null one is what is getting scaled, having the joint parented under it, it'll also get the scale. So then next, you can select that joint, select the base object, apply a smooth bind, skin cluster, and now it's canceling out the scale, as you can see. And when we're down here, we can still select our deformation joints, and we can still deform it like normal. Okay, but it's still not scaling the sphere, which is what we want. What you have to do then is just parent the sphere under the same hierarchy, so it's receiving the same scale, but it's receiving the scaling in its transform rather than in its on its component level. So there we go. It's scaling perfectly, and we can still go and deform it and do whatever we need to do as normal. So yeah, I feel it's a straightforward enough solution. It's pretty simple. It doesn't really create too much overhead. You don't really have to change your rig very much at all. And it worked well for me for the rig that I mentioned that has hundreds of wraps and hundreds of pieces of geometry using those wraps. So yeah, I hope that this works for others out there who are running into the same problem. And if there's a better solution out there, I'd be very interested in hearing about it, because it's a tricky problem. So hope this was of help, and thanks for watching. Bye.